Hey there, I'm Elizabeth Henson. Welcome to the Messy Success Podcast, where I'm helping creative dreamers and overachievers tackle business and life. After 6 years of being my own boss, I finally unraveled a tiny bit of what it takes to survive in this amazing world of being an overly creative entrepreneur. I'm your business bestie, here to help you with all those big ideas and to normalize some of the day-to-day struggles that we all share. My mission is simple. I want more women to make a living doing what they love and to feel good about themselves in the process. The best way to start? We can't do it alone. So welcome. I hope you'll hang out with me here where it's totally okay to be messy. Hello and welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. Elizabeth here. You guys are going to absolutely love this special guest this week. Her name is Danya Douglas Hunt, and I have mentioned Danya on the podcast and in my Insta stories. She is my, what I'm calling entrepreneurial athletic coach. She is a former Olympic head athletic therapist and strength and conditioning coach turned entrepreneur. And she now helps other entrepreneurs, coaches, athletes, and business owners move and feel and perform their best. So specifically what Danya has been helping me with is I am really working on being as healthy on the outside, like in my physical body, as I am on the inside, because I do consider myself to be a very mentally healthy person. I am pretty even keeled. I manage my stress pretty well for the most part. Let's not get too excited there, but in general, I feel like I make my business a priority. I get through my days without feeling overwhelmed, but I struggle with the health and fitness piece, or tapping into my inner athlete, because for those of you that don't know, I played college field hockey at Old Dominion University back when we were very good, very competitive. And I just missed that. I ran a marathon in 2009, and I've had 3 kids. I work from home. I'm very busy. You guys know I hate to use the busy word. I have every excuse in the book of why I haven't been putting myself first or making my health a priority. And I was in Danya's group coaching program, and she helps all different types of athletes and all different types of business owners, but it's usually some form of combination of the two, right? So maybe they're already super competitive and fit, and they're trying to balance the business part. Where I feel like I'm super mentally sound, but I'm trying to match that with my physical body. So you guys are just going to love this conversation. Danya is also a James Wedmore coach with me. This is how we met. You guys are slowly meeting the crew. I love it. But this episode, we just dive really deep into some of the things that I've already learned from her program. Then we go deeper into some areas that, I still need a little bit of work. But overall, I feel like if you have the littlest bit of interest in fitness, health, business owning, maybe not even in business owning, but you just want to navigate, through your health and wellness journey, you're going to really enjoy this. Danya is on Instagram at therafit.fusion. You guys will love her content over there. She's so fun. And let's go ahead and get started. All right. Hello. Welcome, Danya. I am so freaking excited to have you today and to share you with all my people, because I've actually mentioned you before in my Instagram stories and here on the podcast. So tell everyone in your version what you actually do and a little bit about this new venture.
Thank you, first of all, so much for having me. I just love what you do, where you're connecting people and you're creating this community and, bringing like-minded people around. I think that's amazing. So thank you for having me be a part of your podcast. Okay, so a bit of my background real quick is I used to be a former Olympic therapist and strength and conditioning coach. And I pivoted to become an entrepreneur. And then I pivoted to become an online entrepreneur. And now what I really do is I still take the elements of health and fitness and performance from Olympic sport, But I really love enjoying working with entrepreneurs because what I find most entrepreneurs do is they have like this gap where they're like, focused on their business, they're so business focused. However, they kind of forget that there's a person behind the business that needs to perform their best. And most people think of themselves, unless they're an athlete, they kind of just disregard themselves. So, I'm not saying everyone does this, but what I love to do is take my lessons and knowledge and learning from Olympic life and bring it into entrepreneurs to help really them show up as their best self and uncover their blind spots that are holding them back from really being at the next level that they aspire to be. So that's kind of, it's pivoting, but it's taking some elements of coaching and health into the entrepreneur space.
I love it. And that's such a unique thing. And, one of the main reasons that I was so excited to work with you in some capacity is like, because I was an athlete.
Mm,
And even when I first started my photography business, I did this blog post about like how the athlete and the entrepreneur actually have so much in common.
so
So
much.
when you started like speaking all of this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is totally my language. But now, like mom of three, like I
Yeah.
struggle to fit in the health pieces, which I'm so
Yeah.
excited to just share with them all the progress that we've made. But yeah, it's totally my language, and there's definitely an overlap. It's like if you can be a successful entrepreneur, you either already are or you can be a successful athlete or vice versa because it's all in
Totally.
this like high performance realm. But
Yeah.
before we dig in, have you always been in Canada? Like what's your story?
I am. Okay, so I live on the West Coast in Canada, on Vancouver Island. I've got a dog who you can't see, she's sleeping in the background there. But yeah, like my story, honestly, I grew up always being an athlete playing sports, and I grew up knowing that performance and health and being around a team was really important to me. So that's why I naturally progressed into be doing therapy and strength and training to help Olympic athletes. And then I realized, like, it's so funny, this entrepreneur journey, gosh, it's like self development on steroids. Let's just say that. You really get to find out who you are, what you like, what you don't like, real fast. But I realized elements that I really loved in sport were like team, accountability, community, performance. I was lacking in entrepreneurship. So this is like having so many conversations with so many entrepreneurs. It was like, this is a big gap that a lot of people are experiencing, especially former athletes who used to compete or play on teams. It's like, one, what's my goal now? Or two, like, who actually understands this lifestyle of being an entrepreneur, which is different. It's not for everyone, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love it. But also trying to still create this community team like feeling as you're growing your business, because I don't know. There's just something about working with like minded people and being surrounded by that energy, that ambition, that drive that you come across these entrepreneurs having. And then it's like, okay, this is cool, but how do we actually still support the entrepreneur who's going after and changing the world and doing all these good things in the world? So my background's pretty simple. Like I played sport, I went to school, got my degree, joined and did the Worth Olympics, and then I like was like, I want more autonomy. Autonomy is one of my big values. I want more control just over my time, who I work with, and just want to try different things. And then I think it was 2 years ago, I learned about the online world through Stu McLaren. And
Mhm.
I'll be honest, for me, when I saw online, I was like, that is just for sleazy people. That is for people like, I just had such a bad view of online space. But it wasn't until I met people like Stu and James and entrepreneurs like you, I'm like, holy cow, you can work with people all over the world and you can help change lives all over the world. And you can reach way more people than I could like one to one in private practice or with an athlete. So I was like, I have to do this. I want to be able to help more people. And so then I pivoted to like learn about the online space through Stu and then through BBD. And then I've just been growing the Grow coaching program, the one-to-one program. And I love it because it's infinite, it's endless.
It really is infinite, right? Like nobody can put a cap or a ceiling on the work that we're doing. So, do you guys have like an Olympic facility over there? So, are you with like all the different Olympians, or do you work with like a specific team?
Yeah, so I used to. I actually fully retired from sport with the organization, I think March of this year or last year. And I did some private practice. But so we have in Victoria called Canadian Sport Institute, and that's where a lot of Olympic athletes and teams come train. And how it worked was you essentially got positioned with one or a couple teams. So I started off with Swimming Canada, and then I also had some contracts with Rugby and Diving Canada. And then I transitioned to paratriathlon and triathlon. And then I decided to exit and do my own thing. So,
That's
yeah,
so
the
cool.
facility we have here in Victoria, we mainly have like there's different hubs. So, rowing trains there, diving, rugby, swimming. Actually, rugby just moved to their own facility in Langford, but essentially it's like a hub with all these different integrated support specialists like nutrition, psychology, all the different hubs in the training center, and then you just come, you work, you travel with the team. It's pretty awesome. It's amazing. But here's the thing: it's definitely not for everyone's lifestyle. And I think through sport, it taught me so many lessons. But I realized it just wasn't the lifestyle I wanted to do for the next like 30, 40 years, right? With me, depending on what team you get positioned with, there's a lot of travel, and that's great. And people are like, oh my gosh, travel. You need to go to Singapore. And it's like, yeah, on the outside, it looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, you learn from the best coaches and athletes in the world, but those trips are long and grueling, and they're not like you get to see where you're at. Like you're in a hotel room treating, you're at the pool deck early, that's like 18-hour days. So it's amazing, but for me, I was just like, I don't want to do this for the next 30 years of my life. So that's when I kind of was understanding me and my values and really trying to shift, like, what do I actually want to do? And how can I take that and help more people, but not be stuck to like an 18-hour day schedule, if that makes
Someone
sense.
else in charge of your schedule.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. And it is like, it's one of those things, it's like a really sexy job, right? Like
It
I get to work
is.
with like Olympic athletes, or I
It
used to.
totally
And
is.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of my college teammates went on to be in the Olympics.
Nice.
And I'm like, so every time, when we met, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like she would have been like working with my field
Yeah.
hockey people.
Yeah.
Um, so I just think that's so fascinating, but it's a lot of jobs like that people view as like super sexy and amazing. So like my
Mhm.
experience with being a wedding photographer was so similar. Like
Yeah.
that's the coolest job in the world. But then you're doing it and you're carrying around 50-pound equipment for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you that it's like, you know, and you're on somebody else's schedule. So what we do
Yes.
now, it's like there's this freedom and like we truly control our schedule.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, you know me, I'll blab, but let's talk a little bit about some of my key takeaways from your program.
Yeah, sweet.
So, I have had this like on and off again, like up and downs with my relationship with exercise, essentially since I had um my first child. I ran a half marathon after, like I was able to kind of maintain with just one child.
Mhm.
And I still had my day job then
Mhm.
quit the day job, have the second child, and then it's kind of been this like yo-yo effect ever since. And I'm not necessarily just referring to weight, like, my people know I'm not driven by the number on the scale, because I'm so adamant about like being a role model for my girls in that aspect.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't want them to be in a household where thinner is better.
Yeah.
But, I know, I'm like
Especially with society right now, it's like, oh, just I'm like, oh man, like I couldn't understand because I don't have daughters, Elizabeth, but I can just imagine like that societal pressure that people put on the outside of like what you look like and then how thin you are and how, the like lighter the number. And the ironic thing is it's never been in my repertoire. Like I grew up always being athletic, being a tomboy, and like it was like be stronger and like beat the boys and stuff. And so I was lucky to have like my older sister who also was an athlete. And I have another older sister who's super creative. But I I do remember times in high school where I definitely was like feeling that societal pressure to like, oh, like muscle's bad and be skinnier. And I'm like, I can imagine as a mother how stressful or like because your kids go out in the world, right? And you see these things. And so the fact that you're so aware of that and you're trying to set up an example as an example for your kids is amazing because most people I don't think even reckon no, not saying most, but it's not on their radar. It's like just what's normal out there. It's like magazines and ads and things. And it's like that does a lot to the subconscious mind of like, oh, I gotta be this and I gotta do that. And then all the goals, everything gets shifted and skewed to thinking of like an external what everyone else wants and society wants versus like, no, what do you actually want? So you saying that, just even saying around, I want to feel good, and it's not necessarily about a number or look, but it's about like being a role model. That's huge. It's so so huge. I love
Yeah,
it.
and I think, it just the people who don't necessarily think of it in that way, it's just not one of their top core values, like,
Yeah.
and I get it. I mean, like to joke around, "Oh, and mommy needs to lose weight," or "Don't take a picture of mommy." Like, I totally get it, and I
Yeah.
just something just switched, and I was like, "I will not, talk that way in front of them," and, um, it's been easier to accept, like, I'm just curvy or whatever it might be, like, this is who I am, but there's also this part of me that has always been an athlete, right?
Hmm.
Like, I mean, I was kind of a late bloomer athlete. I didn't start playing sports till seventh grade, but I played field hockey in college for a really good team. And then ran a marathon after college. And there's this huge piece of me that's missing. And even before I met you, I was talking with my therapist about it. Like, this is part of my personality. This is part of my identity that
Mm-hmm.
is now gone. How do I get it back? Like, I just want that, like, competitive feeling.
Yeah.
And, I think my biggest takeaway, which I've shared with you from your program, was like, I have to let go of this. I keep using the word sexy today, but I have to let go of this romanticized version of the end goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this version of me like running a marathon again with like my abs like popping through or whatever. Like I have to let go of that and focus on like the process, like you said,
Mm.
creating these new habits. So now every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm someone that will move my body today. I'm someone
Love
that
it.
will take a walk today. I'm someone that will jog today. And just knowing that if I can attach that new narrative and those habits
Yeah.
like to my day, that I can slowly intensify what the actual workout looks like because that container of time will be there.
Totally. Oh man, you dropped some good bombs here. I'm just like, where do I want to go with this? So I think it's important to address just the overall vision and goal because I do find so many people get so wrapped up in that. I think it's so good you brought it up of like the sexy, running a marathon, abs hopping. Hey, first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. Cool. Like everyone's goal, I think, can be anything and different, and it's great. What I want people to ask who are listening is, what does that goal give you? Because any goal you have really is just like, do you guys use Google Maps in the States?
Yeah.
You guys have it? Okay.
Yeah.
So a goal essentially just and a vision just gives us kind of a destination of where we might end up. It gives us like if you put an address in Google Maps, right? It gives us a direction of where we're going, but how we actually get there can happen like 800 million different ways. And then if you fall off course, all it does is reroute you to get back to the course. So there's nothing like wrong to have like this big sexy goal. But this mistake I see a lot of people do is they just focus on the outcome and they don't enjoy the process and who they're becoming along the way. And so that journey becomes really hard and really crappy because if the vision is like, okay, I want to run a marathon and have abs, there's nothing wrong. There's no judgment here. But if you're looking in the mirror every day and you're not seeing those abs right now, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel like crap. And so it's like create the vision, really embody who you want to become, and ask yourself, what does this vision and goal give me, right? Because let's do the magic pill test that James always does. Like, okay, if you could, let's ask you, Elizabeth, if you don't mind sharing, um, what would be your overall vision for yourself? Do you want to use the example of the marathon just because you use it and it's for fun, or is
Oh
that
no,
your
that one was
vision,
kind
or
of
what?
funny. That one was just being funny. So like what's my actual goal?
Mm-hmm.
Like so for me it's I'm chasing that like competitive feeling, which I know I
Mm.
can get like against myself. It doesn't have to be on
Yeah,
a
yeah,
team, but
yeah.
like that feeling of improvement.
Right.
So the gym that I went to before the pandemic, like we would have our push-up test,
Nice.
right? Like once a
Mm-hmm.
month, and you can
Yeah.
see on paper the improvement. So like I
Right.
feel like I'm chasing that feeling,
Yeah.
but also knowing that it would be long term because like I said, I fall off all the time. Like I get on, I fall off. I get on, I fall off.
Yeah.
And so like my true vision of like what I want for myself is to be always on in the lifestyle. Like I am now a fit and healthy person who makes good choices 85% of the time,
Yeah.
but I still can like live my life and eat a donut and enjoy,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah. And not feel guilty about it or like,
I don't need the six pack abs. Like two pant sizes would be amazing, but like even then, I'm okay being curvy, but I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to move my body and feel good. Is that specific enough?
Yes, but you've ruined my example. So like,
Oh, okay,
okay,
okay, okay.
let's pretend like
We can still use the
this
marathon
is
example.
good. This is so good. So let's pretend for those listening, like ask yourself what your goal is, right? So let's say my goal, which is not, is I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, what does losing 10 pounds give me? And most people will like look at, oh, well, maybe more confidence or I'll feel sexier and blah, blah, blah. And the pill test is like, okay, if I had two pills in my hand, one pill is you're going to lose 10 pounds right now, or the other pill is you can feel confident, sexy right now. What would you take? And everyone would be like, oh, I want to feel confident, sexy now. And so it's just understanding like what the vision and goals you're setting for yourself actually are creating, because a lot of times what happens is, okay, so someone, let's say they lose 10 pounds, they still feel the same about themselves. They haven't actually and taken the journey to really have that self-discovery to now have the confidence and the whatever feeling sexy. They think once they get the and lose the 10 pounds, now they're going to feel sexy and confident. And that's not the case. So many times people set goals, not for their fault, but just the wrong intention of like, oh, when I lose this, then I'll be or have this, you know? So it's like, when I lose 10 pounds, then I'll be happy. When it's like, hold on, how do we be that version now? How do we be happy now and enjoy the process, and just getting more clear on like what that goal actually gives you. So that's the first thing. And for you, Elizabeth, I would ask you, like, what does feeling like improvement give you? What does that feeling, yeah, feeling improvement and, you know, making the right decisions 85% of the time, what does that truly give you?
It gives me the happy feeling of reaching a goal, but like in a place in my life that matters. Like, I it's so easy for me to choose business. It's so easy for me to
Mm,
choose all the decisions that I make in entrepreneurship, but like I really struggle to choose, the intense workout every day
right.
or working towards the intensity. Um
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question because it's like, why is it not high enough on my value stick? And we talked a lot about that. Like, why is it
Yeah. Yeah.
so low on my totem pole?
And this is a good thing because like you've done so much self-reflection and self-awareness, and that's amazing because that's what's going to give you the freedom to understand yourself, right? So what I heard you say is you want, it helps you feel accomplished, right? And you want this to be a better priority high up in your totem pole. So if we go back to like feeling accomplished, because you were just saying getting stuff done, always interject if I'm using the wrong words, but it's just looking at like, you can ask yourself like, why does health matter to you, or why does this value for you? And everyone's answer with this is different. This is what I loved about the small group coaching program was everyone's answers and goals and what they're going to do is so different. And what the mistake that most people have is they just sign up for a, this isn't bad, this is not wrong, but this is kind of what happens when you yo-yo, you jump on, jump back off, or you hit your goal and then you fall back to where you were. It's because you never actually take the time to truly understand yourself. Like, why does this even matter to me? Does this even matter to me? Do I have to do workout intense every day? Like, what does that give me? Is that just someone else's thinking, or is it actually going to get me towards my goal? Like, it's really getting clear on you and who you are and what you want and what you value. Because what you value, your habits and your characteristics and stuff will always lead to what you value. If we don't value health, or if we don't value making money in business, we're not going to do the things necessary to make money in business. So let's say I didn't value making money. Well, my business would be struggling. I wouldn't do the things of like showing up on social media and being comfortable and selling and pitching an offer because I didn't really value it as much. So doing the awkward, hard things that require building a business and making money, it's easy for you to be like, nope, I'm just not going to do that. Right? Same thing with health. If we value health, it's easier to form habits around supporting what we value. Now, we can talk about like commitment and motivation and stuff too if you want, but it's just more understanding like the mistake I see most people making is one, the goal setting. What does it give you? And can you have that now? And can you be that version now and enjoy the journey along the way? So we talked about that, about small goals and process goals and such. The second thing is find something that works for you, your body, your lifestyle, and your business. So a lot of people came in, they're like, I don't set goals, or oh, I just think I have to work out five times a day for 2 hours intensely, but I hate doing that. And it's like, well, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're not actually uncovering like, well, do you like jogging? Do you like yoga? Do you like weights? Do you like HIIT class? Like, there's so many ways to get to your goal. And what most people do is just find a cookie cutter approach, but it doesn't actually fit in with your lifestyle. Like, Elizabeth, I don't have kids. I have me, my dog, my fiance, that's it. So my time and schedule looks a lot different than yours does. So why would I expect you and me to be doing the exact same thing to get to our goal? Maybe I'm a morning person, maybe you're a night person. Like there's all these different factors that people don't take into account. And this is what I love because you get to discover what works for you. What's your values? Why is this important? And let's break it down to make it simple and easy and effective for you. So that way you eventually do get to your goal, but in a way that you enjoy and embody that process along the journey, not hate the journey and then get to your goal and still be unhappy.
Yeah, no, I love that. There's so many good golden nuggets there. And I love that it's like we have to figure out what this is going to do for us and why it's important. and I'm trying to think of things that were coming up for me because a lot were.
Yeah,
And I'm
good
like, I've
there.
already been through your program, but things are still coming up for me. But it's like, what is it in me that, like, why do I want to choose the poor health choice, like the donut or whatever's in the cabinet, like instead of the good health choices? And I know we talked about accessibility on one of your
Mhm.
coaching calls. Like that's a huge one, is like the not healthy
Yeah.
stuff is more accessible to me than the healthy stuff. But I think for me it's like deeper than that. Like why do I not value eating vegetables? Like I don't. Like I can look at you in the face and be like, I truly do not care that I don't eat vegetables. So,
Yeah, that's fine though.
but it's not though, right? Like I feel like I should value that.
I love this. And I want to like, okay, I
Help me,
love this.
fix me.
This is good though. So this awareness is the first thing. And this is the hardest work. This is the most, I don't know, it's work that you and only you can do because no one knows how you think, how you feel when you're looking at two different choices. What's the deal? The first thing I want to say though, first is there's no good or bad choices. This is
Right.
just
Oh
it.
yeah, you're
There's
right.
no good or bad choices. It's just choice. It's like a donut's a donut, a broccoli's a broccoli. We make an attachment means everything. So it's like,
Hmm.
oh, the donut's awful and bad. Elizabeth, I like, okay, before we got on our call, I had hobnobs in my tea. Then
What's a
people, it's like,
hobnob?
oh, okay, that would make sense. So it's a chocolate covered cookie you dip in tea. So it's,
Oh,
my
okay.
partner's
Okay.
from England and he has them all the time, but they're over here too. Yeah, what's a hobnob? That's good. Sounds very, yeah. But anyways, it's like, what I want people to understand is like there's no good or bad. It's just data. And you start to understand first yourself and you start to understand like just be a scientist in your life. Like, does this choice right here and now support the version of myself who I want to be? Yes or no, right? But it's not like, oh my gosh, you're this awful person. You see, I knew you couldn't do it. You ate the donut, da da da. No, it's just like, okay, that's you just made a choice and that's great. Honor your choice, but don't feel guilty and crap and shame yourself for it. Just honor, okay, okay, not to bring up the election, but here's how elections are won. Is it 100% of the votes for one person?
No,
No, it's
never.
like the majority of the votes. So if you can start looking at your goals, like you're just casting a vote, and every time you whatever have water or have a donut or a broccoli or go for a walk, you're just casting a vote, right? And you're just casting a vote for, does this support the version of myself who I want to be? Yes or no. That's it. It's just data. Now, if you're on your journey to your goals is a lot slower, then you can start looking at your cast ballots and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm choosing a lot more unhealthy food, or sorry, they're not good or bad foods, but I'm choosing foods that aren't supporting the version of myself who I want to be. So can I adjust and make some changes here or there? It doesn't have to be this like binary, like bad, good, this or that kind of decision. It's like, hey, let's make it work for you and understand that you can still enjoy the donut. I freaking had chocolate cookies this morning. But if I had that every morning, every day, and I had lots of things, for sure, I can't sit there and say, if I'm going to eat takeout every day and crap food, I can't be surprised that I don't feel as good. I feel like low energy. I'm putting on weight because I'm putting more votes towards the version I don't want to be versus the version I do want to be. Does that make sense?
No, I actually really like the vote analogy.
Yeah.
And I know like the biggest thing, this it seems so simple, but the biggest thing that has helped me since working with you has just been asking myself better questions. And
Yes.
the big thing I ask myself is like, what would a fit and healthy person do right now?
Yeah.
And the very first time that I kind of flipped that switch, I like went into the group and like told you guys about it. It was like it was raining. I couldn't go outside and like run like I wanted to, and I was like my husband had to go out, so I had all kids at home. So I was like, I'm gonna do some lunges, I'm gonna do some stairs, whatever, because I just said, what would a fit and healthy person do that could not do the workout they had planned to do? They
Such
would
a good question.
create one.
Yeah.
And I don't have a perfect track record since then, but it was this learning moment that is the choice that a fit and healthy version of me would do. So
Of
it's
you.
just
Yes.
right,
I love
constantly
that.
like asking myself that. And another good one too is like you kind of forced me to like not just wing it. Like I think I'm going to try to run today. Like no, I wake up and I look at my schedule and I say, okay, I'm actually going to go out and run after my call with Danya. So I told my husband, said it out loud, put it in the universe. That's when I'm going
Love
to
it.
do my workout.
Yeah.
And I kind of like resisted that one because I like the flexibility to my schedule. So
Yes.
I haven't gone as far as like writing it out a week ahead of time, but every night or every morning I look at my schedule and this is the time that I will fit it in.
I love that.
And
And I think like to honor that too is like, here I guess is the the bottom line. Like if we want change, we have to do some things differently. That's just it. We can't sit here and isn't it the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? So it's like there has to be, if we want change, if we want growth, if we want something different, we have to do something different, right? If I want to grow my business, I have to, put myself out there to get a client or something, right? I can't just sit on my couch and be like, oh, no, you have to actually take some action and different action. Same thing with your health. But it doesn't have to be, again, it's all just, a lot of it comes down to our thoughts and our ways of thinking. People just have it so rigid and it has to be this way. And there's all these rules and da 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 da. I don't have any rules. Like for myself, I know I'm clear on my goal and my vision and my why. And once you have that, it gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom within that structure. So for myself, and everyone works differently, it's understanding we need a bit of structure, but there still can be flexibility within that structure. It's not like, some people write goals of like, I'm going to write 10 pages every day. And then when they don't write 10 pages, they feel like a failure. It's like, hold on, let's just maybe like write 10 minutes a day. And then you can expand and do things. So for me, for example, is health and fitness is important to me, but I'm not like this insane person who trains every day, all day, because I'm not in sport anymore. It's not, I'm training for life, not for a sport or competition. But I know I show up as my best when I get in 2 to 3 lifts per week. When I do those lifts, it can change. It can be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It can ebb and flow. There's flexibility within my structure. However, if I know I want to get stronger and put on some muscle, there's certain requirements I need to do in order to reach that goal. But there's no hard and fast rule of like, you have to do it Monday for 2 hours at this time. That doesn't work for me. So then it goes back to know thyself. Really understand, like, do you need to have a written down schedule week by week? Some people do. Can you just wake up in the morning and have the intention, I'm going to move my body today, but when I do it and how I do it is going to be determined in the morning or whatever. That works for some people. But again, it comes back to knowing yourself, getting some guidance and help around that, understanding there's going to be some change needed in order to improve or change something. Like you can't just do the same things and expect different results, but there can be flexibility within that structure. And I think that for a lot of people, and there was like, oh, this like breath of fresh air. It doesn't have to be this like hard and fast cookie cutter. You have to do it this way. No. But here's the other thing too. If you want to be like Mr. or Mrs. Olympia, I think that's in the States, right? There's certain things you need to do with your nutrition, your sleep, and whatever to achieve that goal. So understanding what your goal is and getting clear on, okay, if I want to get there eventually, I need to do certain things in order to get to that goal. If it's just about being healthier and exercising, there's so many different ways you can do that. Again, making it work for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I also want to ask you, like, what do you personally do on a day that you don't feel like it?
So that's a great question. I have structure. So for me, I just don't need to lift 3 times a week. That's my main goal, is just it's strength. I love to have some muscle. And I think all the women on here being like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lift weights because of muscle. Okay, it takes years and years and a long, like specific training and dieting to like actually put on muscle. I think a misconception for a lot of women is if they lift weights, they'll get big and bulky. Girl, let me tell you, if that was the case, that would be a dream. Because like, not that I want to look like a man, but I like muscle. I like not huge muscle, but I like it's like when you see someone who's super fit, that takes dedication and time. For most women, it's like, I want to look toned. That's muscle building. Tone is strength. That's muscle. You can't just like do a bunch of cardio to tone. So first I look at my goal. I want to lift, or I need to lift 3 times a week in order to work towards my vision. For me, I like to look at it in a week in advance. So usually at the Sunday, I have my the podcast in, the group coaching calls in, the one-to-one clients, and I have an idea of like the ebb and flow of my days. And then knowing myself and knowing what I have access to, I can pick and choose what days work better this week. So for example, like Monday, I'm not lifting today, but Tuesday I have a bit more time in the afternoon. I'll lift on Tuesday. So it's understanding your goal. It's understanding that, okay, in order for me to achieve that goal, I need to lift 3 times a week for myself. You can do lots of different ways of lifting, like 2 times a week, 5 times a week. I've made it 3 times. And then it's understanding, I look at my week ahead of time and say, what are the best days where I'm going to actually have energy to go do that goal? So I try and set myself up for success, right? Access what my day is like ahead of time, and doesn't make sense. So for me, I don't like lifting at nighttime. So if I have a lift at nighttime, the chances of me not wanting to do it are pretty dang high. So I try and put it in the afternoon or the morning. that's kind of how I go around it. So I plan on the week ahead of time. Now, that being said, let's say I wake up and I'm like, oh, my body is telling me I need more rest. Like, this is not a good day to lift. I can just move it to the next day. I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible thing to not do it. It's like, no, I'm honoring and tuning into my body. You can always know if it's like your mind trying to talk you out of it, or if it's like, no, your body feels like it's going to get sick, or you're feeling. And so I'm okay knowing that in my week, I have 7 days to hit 3 lifts. I can move and flexible. I'm flexible with those.
Yeah, I know. I do think there's some days where I'm like, my mind, like there's nothing wrong with me. Like last night, it just the day got away from me like
Yep.
completely. So it was like 7 o'clock at night, and I was like, I don't want to get on the treadmill freaking 7:30 at night. Like it's time to get my kids ready for bed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
I didn't attach any guilt to it or anything like that. Like I feel like I've kind of gotten past that point of like beating myself up if I don't hit something. But
Better
it
have. What are you talking about? Elizabeth.
I know, right? But it's kind of like, oh, like why did I choose that? I could have just done 10 minutes. I could have just done 10 minutes.
This is good though. So like, let's take that day, for example. Again, it's different. So like if I had a goal or an intention of moving my body every day, which I actually do. So I lift 3 times a week and then I go for a walk. I have a dog though, so that helps. Like I have to take
Hmm.
her out 3 times a day. One of those walks is longer. So it's setting yourself up for success and recognizing what are your habits and goals you're trying to achieve. So if your goal is to move your body every day, there's ways you can go in that actually still set yourself up for success. It's being aware of your day, it's being intentional, and setting yourself up in a way of like, okay, is my day get so crazy busy at the end of the day that I should do this earlier in the day? It just goes back to really knowing yourself and your schedule and how you operate. So let's say you didn't want to get in the treadmill, but you still wanted to honor your commitment. Could you do some stretching? Could you do something else? But if it was truly you being like, no, my body needs rest. This does not feel good. I have to get my kids to bed. I can either try and do something later or just honor that it's just a decision. I'm not going to move today. That's also fine. So with that, let's say this like day you had, um, you could look at it like data. So it's like, okay, what was my day like today? Could I, what's the weekly review thing we do? It's like, did I hit my goal today? If not, why? So why did we not hit our goal? Because I don't know, for that day, what do you think prevented you from hitting your goal of moving your body that day?
I think I didn't wake up in the morning and specify when I was going to do it was probably the biggest problem. So I didn't like
Data, no
allot
problem.
that time away from my kids. So my
Right.
husband was golfing all day. So I had the kids all day. So I didn't like intentionally say this is when I'm going to do it. So by the time I got an opportunity, it was like the ship had sailed.
Right. This is great because what most people do is like, one, they say it's a problem or it's bad or whatever. It's not, just data. And
Right.
so it's like, okay, knowing that, Elizabeth, what could you do the next day to help? If we're working towards a goal of moving every day, what could you do the next day to prevent that from happening and set yourself up for success?
Right. So that's why this morning, first thing, I looked at my schedule. It is very packed, but there's definitely like a window of opportunity. So my goal is to do it actually after we get off the phone. But then there's
Nice.
that little voice that knows that I have a 4 o'clock meeting. Do I want to stay dressed or whatever? But I could still go at 5. So I kind of
Yeah.
have two opportunities. So if I don't choose to do it between this call and my next call, I know that I will do it at 5. But I have two choices.
Right.
But just looking at my schedule and knowing that those are my containers of time that I could do it in, which I didn't do. I mean, yesterday was Sunday too, so I'm not always as strict about it on Sundays, but that was the big difference. It's like I should have looked at my schedule and said, you know what, it's going to make more sense to do it in the morning before Mark leaves for golf.
Right. So it's great. So all you did was take the data from a day and you reviewed it and you said what went well, what could have been better, what did I learn, and how can I, if my goal is this, how do I set myself up for success for the next day? And that's all you did. It's not bad, it's not good. You're just casting a vote for, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be more intentional. And then it's just about deciding and making a choice. So for you, you've got 2 times. What time are you going to do your movement at? You're going to decide right now.
I'll go when we're done. I'll go when we're
Okay.
done. Yeah.
Elizabeth, on the record, just going, we're done.
Yeah.
So it can be like that. And there's in the group program, we go over like habit strategies of like, okay, so for example, one's called habit stacking, where it's like, if your goal is to do something every day, what do you already do in your day that you can attach a new habit you're trying to form to? So for example, people are like, everyone brushes their teeth. Hopefully. Great. What can you do? What can you signal to your brain where it's like, when I brush my teeth, right after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do X. Okay, so after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do 5 minutes of mindfulness. So in my brain, I'm creating a habit stack where I'm linking brushing my teeth, signaling to myself that right after I brush my teeth and put my toothbrush down, I'm going to go do 5 minutes of mindfulness. You brush your teeth every day, it's going to be easy to habit stack that behavior with the current behavior you're already doing. There's lots of different ways and strategies you can help set yourself up for success. But the strategies don't mean jack poop unless you actually know your goal and yourself and what's holding you back and these tendencies that we might have, right? So coming back to our thoughts, our language, our expectations, all these things play into a role of setting yourself up for success. So strategies I find in the how-to is just, if you don't have a good foundation and knowledge of who you are, it's like putting whipped cream on poop. It's still poop underneath, but there's whipped cream on top, you know? I try not to swear in your podcast because
Oh no, you
normally
can.
I
It's fine.
swear.
That's so funny. So would it be productive, just like on a physical science level,
Mm,
for me to do like 5 to 10 air squats every time I brush my teeth?
absolutely.
Is that doing anything for my body?
It is. This is the
Okay.
thing. So again, it just goes back to your goals. So is that going to make you build muscle and no, but what it does is it gets you up and moving. So
Mm-hmm.
most of us sit way too long in our day, and that's what can lead to aches and pains and stupid crap we don't need to deal with because we're just sitting too much. We're in one position for too long. So absolutely, it helps reset the body. It gets blood flow moving. It gets you using your muscles. So will it help you if you only do that forever and ever, lose weight, build muscle? No, but it's a great habit starter. It's a great way to reset the body. After you do 10 squats, see how you feel. You typically feel a bit more energized, more awake because your endorphins are getting released in your body, right? And you feel easier. You feel like you can move a bit better because you're a bit more woken up, right? The biggest thing is trying to create an actual habit. Once you create that habit, who knows, after you do 5 or 10 squats after you brush your teeth, maybe you're like, oh, I want to do more, or maybe I'll do 15 squats, or I'll do some push-ups. Like, it's the biggest thing people don't do is they don't start and they don't try and create a habit in the first place. The habit can always um, expand and do more if you want to do more. But for myself, like during my work week, we go over the Pomodoro technique in the group, is that time blocks. I will sit and focus on a task for 15 minutes, and then 10 minutes, I either get up and I move my body, I do some stretches, I do meditation, or I just reset and whatever, do some dance party, or just do something different out of my sitting down position. Having those quick little movement breaks in your day goes a long, I said the bad word, a long, long way for your overall health and well being as a human being. It's like, okay, it's like if if you have a car, I use a lot of car analogies, but it's like if you had a car and you just had your car sit in your garage for years and years and years and years. When you go and drive that car, all of the gas and the oil is like really rusty and like it's just sedentary and stuck in its own way. So it's going to take you some time to actually, maybe change the oil and get the car moving and performing as well as it used to when you used to drive a car. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
The body is the same way. There's lots of different systems in your body. There's lymph, which is our immune system. And if we just are sit and stagnant a lot of times, that kind of just sits in like pools. It doesn't actually move around as well as it can. So incorporating a little bit of movement helps your joints, helps your blood flow, helps your lymph flow, all of these things that we think are so not worth it. But it's like, hold on a second. Yes, it's so worth it. Having a little bit of a break every hour, squats, push-ups, goes a long way for the longevity of your body and your health. But people think it's stupid. People don't think it's worth it. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a performance goal for like fitness, but it's a performance goal for how well your body moves and operates and the joints function and everything like that, because you're not just sitting in one position for long periods of time. You're actually getting that car out of the garage and driving it a little bit and then putting it back in the garage.
So interesting. So like, over the years where I like haven't been moving my body as much as I should, I have these moments where I'm like, thank goodness we have a 2-story house. Like imagine
Yeah, right.
like
Stairs.
how even worse off I would be if I didn't go up and down the stairs 100 times a day or whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's what this is, honestly, like, this is what gets a lot of people. So when I worked private practice, it's like, it's not that posture. It's like everyone has to have this perfect posture, like move the right tons. It's just like, we just can't be in the same position for long periods of time. So sitting, I would say, is like the new smoking. It's like when you sit for long periods of time, you want to forecast that out. So it's not like, okay, you just sat for 8 hours today. No, think about the weeks and the months and the years and the decades of your body sitting in the same position. Your body adapts to that. It gets, your joints lose their range of motion, things get lethargic. You're not using your muscles to actually get the lymph and the blood flowing again. So there's different parts of our system that are active and are passive. And the passive parts of our system need muscle contraction to actually move the fluid. So you just getting up and doing some squats helps circulate and move that fluid and gets the toxins out of your body and gets some muscles awake. It goes, you open up a rabbit hole. I feel like we could talk
I
about
love
this
it.
forever,
You're
but
standing up right now, aren't you?
I do. Well, I didn't realize this, but it's a habit. I can't sit for long periods of time. I just stand up, I sit down, I move around because
Yeah.
your bodies are designed to move. So if anyone's listening and they're like, oh, 10 squats is a waste of time, it's not. That helps your body in the long term for the long run. Will it help you get super fit, super strong in the long run? No, but it does a different thing for your body that it also needs to, which is just daily movement.
Yeah. Because I mean, I would like to be totally honest. Like, I feel like I've had a stand up desk. It didn't work well because I had a laptop on it, so I was still angled
Right.
looking down. But my husband has
Mm-hmm.
a stand up desk, and I'm just like, it looks like it's working for him. It's working for you. But I know I struggle. Like, my body hurts more standing still than if I'm moving. Like, if I'm walking, I don't feel my aches and pains. But if I'm standing in
Yeah.
one position, then I start to really feel some of those aches and pains. But
Yeah.
I remember like you showed a behind the scenes one day and I was like, "Oh, look at her little setup." And I think you were like doing some weights or something. And I
Yeah.
was like,
So
"Oh,
funny.
she just like makes it look so easy to just like incorporate that blood flow."
Yeah. And I think the big thing too is like there's so many wins we can do in our day by bringing it into your day. So like there's definitely times where like I can't get to gym, so I do my dumbbells at home. And like there's times when I'm on a not a coaching call, a learning call where it's like I know this is gonna be 3 hours, so I'm just gonna turn my camera off and do some movement while I'm listening. you know.
Totally.
Um,
Yes.
but the funny thing is, Elizabeth, I would say is the whole going back to standing. I think for a lot of people, it's just because you're not used to it. And then it's also the way you stand. So a lot of times when people stand, it's like they rest on their joints. They're not actually using their muscles to activate and stabilize their body. So when you rest on your joints, like if you kind of slouch forward or stand on one leg and you put your hip up to the side, you're not using your body's natural muscle contraction to stabilize your body. So it gets achy and it gets painful over time for sure.
So
But
interesting.
also it's just not it's not your body being used to it. So we can't go from like, let's say sitting to then standing all day because your body's not used to it. It's like it's just doing increments. For me, I kind of go from sitting to standing just naturally in my day. I don't stand all day. I don't sit all day. It's just movement. The biggest thing is just your body just needs some movement in it to actually feel and move good. But most people don't even do that. So a lot of times for habits, like let's just try and get you up and down out of your desk a couple times a day. And you'll be surprised at how that little simple habit helps you feel in your day more energized, more clarity, all these things, because you're not just in a stagnant one position for long periods of time. That's
Yeah.
just a breeding ground for aches and pains and injuries that people don't have to deal with.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
You
I
know,
love it. So it's so interesting. It's like we overcomplicate it, right? By just being like, "Oh,
everything.
that's not worth it," or it's not going to make a difference if I do this or if I don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
and I do think that's one of those micro changes that I've made, after your program is like 10 minutes is good enough sometimes. Like
so
10
good.
minutes
Yep.
is better than nothing. It's not a waste of my time. Like, even
No.
if I don't work up a sweat or whatever, my body still feels good. Most of the time I end up doing more, but it's just
Yeah.
like committing to that little bit.
And creating that habit, right? Like for you, it's like that 10 minutes you said can expand, can you get more tens, could you do that? But it's just creating the habit and it's doing that movement for your body. I don't know if you saw it, but for most people, like exercise, so I'm not going to go over it now, but there's a difference between movement, exercise, and training. And so for regular health guidelines from in Canada and the States, it just says you have to have 150 minutes of exercise a week. How you get that is up to you. You can do one big bout or you can do 10-minute breaks throughout the week, throughout the day. So as long as it adds up to 150, what is that? Divided by 10, 15. Wow. Bad math, Daniel. So let's say for some people, they're like, 10 minutes isn't worth it. Well, according to the research and health guidelines, if you just did 10-minute blocks of brisk walking where you got your heart rate up a little bit and you're breathing a little bit more than just like regular, that's good enough to create enough change within the body for health benefits. Great. So you have to do 15 10-minute walks somewhere in your 7 days. That's two 10-minute walks a day. That's
Yeah.
enough to create health change in your body. It's different than training, but it's for most people we don't even do that,
Right,
right?
right,
So
right.
it's again, it's just it's understanding yourself, finding the holes in the bucket of like, do I even do the bare minimum my body needs to just perform and move its best? Like it goes back to the car. Your car is needing its tires changed. It needs good fuel. It needs oil changes in order to perform its best. The body's the same thing. It needs basic functions to perform its best, but most of us don't even do those basic functions like drink enough water or sleep or do some movement in your day. Those basic things can help you truly show up as your best self in your business and with relationships. But a lot of us don't even do some of the bare minimum, or we do one or two elements really, really well, but then we forget the recovery piece, or we forget the rest piece. And it's like you need all these things to actually help your body move and feel its best so you can show up as your best self. And that's
Oh
what
my
it's like,
gosh.
breaking down the complicated into simple things that work for you.
Yeah. And I just, it's one of those things where I'm like, I just can't, it's so cool to think about just improving in that area because,
Mhm.
I've just come so far with like knowing that everything boils down to choices. Everything comes down to the narrative that's in my head. And this is just one more
Yeah.
piece of the puzzle,
Yeah.
to like essentially creating the exact life or version of my life that I want. It's just one more piece of the
Totally.
puzzle, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
Well, sorry. I don't know if there's a leg, but there's one. This is the thing that I would say most, especially high performing entrepreneurs who are like, don't even get me started on people who are just starting their business, because people are like 8 to 9 hour days and go, go, go. And they just, health is not even on their agenda. But a lot of people who are 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs, a lot of people don't do self care or take the time to rest or take care of themselves. And then they get to the point of burnout or stress, and they're like, can't make decisions clearly because they're just so tired and they don't recognize it. But this is the thing that I would try and get across to everyone is you don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be this like high performing person who's competing to take care of your body. Just remember, everyone has a body. Whether you're an Olympic athlete or not, you have a body, and that body needs some basic functions. And the body and the brain is a foundation for everything. And so I remember I did a talk on Tribe Live stage 2 years ago, and the theme was stay healthy to stay wealthy, recognizing that you can have all the money in the world and the success in the world, but if you don't have your health, it no one will say I want more money over their health. If you're sick in your bed, if you're injured, if you're not able to do what you actually like to do, like go on those trips, take those adventures, do the hikes, because you're sick, you're injured, you're unhealthy, it doesn't matter if you've got billions of dollars in your bank account. You're not going to be able to enjoy as much because you need this physical body to take you through life. So it's the classic saying, like, stay healthy to stay wealthy, however you define that. But truly understanding as an entrepreneur, as people are scaling, honestly, the biggest conversations I have with most of them are not business strategy. It's around health and self-care, and helping them stay healthy so they can actually stay performing as their best and growing their businesses. It's just the foundation for everything, right? So
that is so true. And I feel like I almost need to find a way to almost flip-flop, right? Because like if I could put my health just a little bit higher than my business, because right now it's not, like that is actually going to bring up the performance in my business.
oh, totally will.
Like,
It totally will. Yes.
I mean, because
But then,
I'm 38. Like, I legit like just don't feel great. Like,
yeah,
I know what it feels like to be at that 10, like health
yeah,
wise,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and like
yeah,
I'm so not there right now. But I'm 38, but I'm only 38. Like in
totally.
one sentence, it feels old
Yeah,
compared to like my fit 20-year-old self.
yeah,
But in the other sentence, it's like, but I'm only 38.
yeah.
Like, look at freaking
What do
Joe
you think?
Biden like running out. I'm like, he's 80.
Right? Yeah. And this is a fun thing. People are like, oh, they don't understand my lifestyle. I guarantee you can find someone busier than you, who's got more on their plate, who's got more kids than you, who feels and looks good and moves their best, and they're way older than you. Like there's
Totally.
some, but people just like to find like, no, it's just me. No, it's not normal to feel tired. It's not normal to feel achy. It's not normal to feel like you can't move and perform your best. It's healthy is actually the normal state we're supposed to be in. Vibrant energy. And if we're not at that state, then we're missing a hole in our bucket that we need to figure out and fill. And I want to ask you, what prevents you from putting your health higher than business?
I don't know. And like, why do I even feel the need to rank them? Like, why do I even
There's nothing
articulate that?
wrong with ranking them. It
Like
is
why?
interesting.
Yeah, but it definitely is. It's like if I have to pick five priorities, health is probably like number five.
Right.
Like it's in my daily to dos, but it is definitely the first thing to get bumped.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is, we did the test, like I'm an obliger, I'm a people pleaser, so I think that it just affects me. But, what I'm learning, like you said, better health, better wealth. If I'm healthier, then my business will do better. I take better care of my family, all the things. Um, so yeah, that is a really interesting kind of perspective of like what's stopping me from making it number one.
I guess I would ask, like, there's a lot of things we go here, but it's like, how do you define health? Because some people define health and like think, oh my gosh, I've got to work out every day for an hour and do all these things. And in that sense, it's almost like, oh, this is taking a lot of time away from my business and it has to look a certain way. So I would get curious for you, Elizabeth, is getting clear on what does health even mean to you. Sorry, there's a siren. How do you define health? Because how I define health is different than how you define health, right? It
Mm-hmm.
goes back, there's like basic things we need to have, like, okay, enough sleep, enough water, enough fuel, that sort of stuff. But how do you define health and what does it mean to you? And then understanding, like, um, just asking yourself better questions around the subject of what does health give me or what does health not give me. Like, there's some underlying, I don't know if there's fear or something going on, but health right now is taking something from you, right? And if it's taking something from you, you're not going to put it higher on your list, because it's, if right now it sounds like health is getting in the way of other things that you want to do versus
Yeah,
it
there's
being
definitely,
like,
I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the call. Definitely, I think something that entrepreneurs specifically struggle with is the decision fatigue.
yes, oh
Like decision
totally,
fatigue in
yeah,
our business, decision
yeah,
fatigue in what to feed my children.
yep,
And then I just don't want to make any more decisions. So
totally,
having, and that's, I know because I'm an obliger. I know I work out better in communities. I work out better when someone
yeah,
else tells me what to do. We've talked about all of that.
yeah,
But yeah, it definitely, I have this belief that it gets in the way, or that it's too exhausting to make a decision about it. It's just easier to kind of push it to the side.
totally,
And I think
yeah,
that's why some of the yo-yo effect happens, because I will make it number one, but then I exhaust myself, or whatever, making these decisions to
yeah.
eat better, these decisions to go shopping, and it's like it doesn't stick.
Do you think the decisions are the sole factor of it? Because if that's the issue, as a coach entrepreneur, what would you say to your client if it was just decision making?
Well,
How
because
can
like
you,
everything's figure outable. Like I can do it without. There's ways. There's resources to do it without making decisions.
yeah. So is it really decisions or something else?
Um,
Which you can, yeah, I don't, you don't need to put on the spot, but it's just something to start thinking about. Is it really truly decisions? Because you can hire a personal trainer, you can sign up for a program that gives you the exact how to. There's all these things that you can help combat that response. So is it truly decision fatigue or is it something else?
I mean, I don't think decision fatigue is the only reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's the like just like lack of motivation, or the people pleasing, the busy. There's every excuse in the book, right? But like what is actually causing me to choose business over health, to choose, whatever my family needs from me over health, you know? And we're working like I'm creating the new habits. So I feel like that is such a win. But I
Yeah,
still,
absolutely.
even with the win and creating the new habit, it is still not number one. It's still like number five. I've just gotten better at juggling everything.
Right.
Right. So like
So
that's
you've
like
made
some.
progress. Like that's the big thing. It's not to say we can't. I think people do see like, oh, we're just gonna go from nothing to everything, get all the habits and down, and feel like it's not gonna work that way. It's a journey, and it's making it work for you. So it is taking those, as we call, like those success path steps, like those micro habit goals of like, okay, right now we're going from not doing anything for a while to just creating a habit of moving my body for 10 minutes a day. That's fantastic. The thing about motivation, I'll address really quick, is most people think they have to have motivation before they do something, when in actuality it's commitment that we need first. Because when you commit to something and you make a decision of, like, no one's going to have motivation to get up and move if they haven't done it in a long time. It's very rare, unless you've had like a big scare, or like a, your doctor says like, some terrible news. It's very rare you're just going to have, wake up one day and feel motivated to move. It's not. But what we're looking at is how to create new habits is all about repetition, right? So we first have to be committed for at least a week or 10 days of just doing the habit. And then what you're going to notice is you're going to have some progress, some win. And it's that progress and that win that actually helps create that motivation, because you're going to see some result, you're going to feel differently, you're going to have more energy. And that's what helps create the motivation to keep it going. But most people think they have to wait for motivation. It's actually understanding like, no, you just need to commit and make a decision and make it so it's easy for you to commit. Like, set yourself up for success. My first goal, it was 1 minute of meditation or mindfulness every morning. And people are like, that is so stupid, especially my competitive athletes. They're like, that's a waste of time. It's not, because for me, that was such a barrier to just sit and be quiet for a minute. It was really hard for me at the time. Now it's expanded. I do 10, 20-minute meditations, but I started with something super small, super easy, and super something that I could actually accomplish. And over time, it's expanded. But I first had to create the habit and be committed to creating the habit. After the habit felt more routine, then I started seeing progress. Oh, I can go for longer. And now it feels easier. In my day, I'm not reacting as much. I'm a bit more present. And that motivation keeps it going. But a lot of people wait for the motivation, and it's actually no, get clear on the habit, make it super simple and easy, and set yourself up for success. Create a plan around it, and then just commit to it. And after you commit to it, just know you're making a vote for that election to be towards your best self. After a certain period of time, it doesn't take long, like about 10 days of you committing to it, you start to understand and see the motivation, or you start to see the progress, and that helps keep it going.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
absolutely. And that's, yeah, and that's totally where I am, is like creating that habit. It's almost like building trust with myself, like building trust with myself that I'm going to
100%.
keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, self integrity, your word is huge. And if
Mhm.
we break our word, that's it. People don't realize this. Like, people don't realize that being integral and taking 100% responsibility for your thoughts and your actions is what helps create your freedom. But every time you break your word to yourself, you're creating this mistrust. And it can seem silly, but over time, that's what it leads to. It's like you're not committing your word to yourself. Just like you would commit your word to your business or your clients. It's like that is like non-negotiable, or your kids. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm committed. And if you don't, that's integral to them. But for some reason, we don't keep integrity to ourselves. It's just, we're like an afterthought, or it's something that we don't think is the same, but it's actually, it's worse. Not keeping word to yourself is worse. And it leads to these behaviors or these thoughts or these things down the road that really just start with saying, okay, I'm going to wake up and do 1 minute of movement. Start there. Put on
Yeah.
some, like, just something so simple to commit to your word to yourself, and watch how that confidence grows and watch how that progress grows with something super simple. So for you,
Love it.
I think you've got some good things to dive into. Like, think about, however, recognize that on your journey, this is great. You're creating the habit. You're sticking with the habit. You're being consistent. And that's where you need to focus on. Enjoy this journey. And then as you're coming up to moments of lack of motivation, or like still not putting it on the list, or it's like going down the list of your priorities, start asking yourself, is it really decision fatigue, or is there something else going on I'm not honoring or recognizing?
Yeah.
But for right
Yeah.
now, the habit you're doing is just simply move your body 10 minutes a day. Boom, great. When you don't do it, review it. What went wrong? Not what went wrong, but what happened? Did I reach my goal? Did I not? What prevented me from reaching my goal? Okay, can I do something different tomorrow? Yes or no? Then do it. Repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's simple, but we overcomplicate everything.
Oh yeah, totally. We overcomplicate business too. Like business
Yeah.
is
Oh,
actually simple.
it is. It it is. And this is what successful people do. Olympic athletes, entrepreneurs, they do the simple things and the basic fundamentals, or what you'd say like the ordinary things, extraordinarily well. It's not
Mhm.
rocket science. There's no magic pill. There's no quick fix. It's just you stick with the simple basics over and over and over again over time, and you always end up getting to your goals. Olympic athletes, what do they do? Yes, they have. There's not over simplifying this, but what does Michael Jordan do in practice? He practices his free throw shots when he used to train. It's like going back to the basics of that sport, mastering the basics, the fundamentals that make that sport, and then adding the flair to it. Olympic athletes, same thing. They come in, they practice the basics, the squat, the push, like the bench press, whatever it is, over and over again, because the fundamentals and basics are the foundation for everything. And they just stick with it consistently over time,
So
with some
true.
fun and flair in there. But most people just want to skip the basics and fundamentals and jump to the fancy flair stuff. It's like, hold on a sec. Like me, I want to meditate for an hour a day. No, let's just start with a minute.
Yeah.
Chill out.
But now
You
you're
know
up to, you said
yourself.
10 or 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, I do at least 10 minutes now, but it's usually 20 minutes of just sitting. And let me tell you, that was really hard to just sit and be quiet or for
Or
like
do
a
you do
minute,
like
because
music or guided meditation or anything?
I definitely switch it up. But for the first bit, I just sat in silence for a minute. And let me tell you, like, sorry, that's my dog's collar. Your thoughts just want to pull you in different directions. Like, oh, I need to be doing this and buy this and this client call. It's like, no, just sit and be quiet for a minute. Just challenge yourself to do that, and then
Oh my
expand
gosh.
it as you go through it. And so then I'll add in some music. I'll do some guided meditations too. But the goal is every day, though, it's at least 10 minutes now.
I
But it
love
started
it.
with one.
My I have this yoga app and my daughter loves doing it. And the other night she's like,
Yeah.
"Mommy, can we do yoga?" And I knew I had to say yes because I had freaking promised her I would do it. I was not in the mood. But let me
Yeah.
tell you, after that 10-minute yoga, I was like, "Thank you, Gracie."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was like
Totally. And it's
just
like,
like four poses, but again, to sit in silence and to just listen to my body and to stretch my body and yeah.
and tune in. Yeah. And like, again, tuning in. I think the big thing of the program was like what do you want? Not what
Mm-hmm.
anyone else wants, but what do you want? Like tune into yourself, like your goals, your reflections, like why is this important to you? It's not like, oh, here's this plan you just got to follow. No, no, no. It's like, what does Elizabeth want? And why is this important? And how can we set you up for success that works for you and your lifestyle and your body, not what is everyone else doing and want? It doesn't
Right.
work
Like
that
what's
way.
the new fad? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Gosh, such a good conversation. I love it. I'm like, this is how we really talk too. This is the coolest part about bringing all you guys on the podcast is like, this is like how we would normally have a
Yeah.
conversation.
It's true. It's true. Just casual chit chat. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us, like, how can people find you and what's coming up for you? What are you working on?
Oh man, this is the kicker. So my handle on Instagram or Facebook is therafit.fusion. My name's Danya, so you know if that's me, you'll see a picture of a blonde lady. But yeah, I'm really transitioning from. So I used to do a lot of just how-to programs for people, but it's more transitioning to just coaching around this, like coaching high achievers, high performers, how to show up as their best selves, and really helping you identify your blind spots or your holes in your bucket that are preventing you from your next level. So I will be launching the small group coaching program soon. I don't actually know when. The election, everything kind of threw curveballs of the timing of stuff. But I do want to launch the small group coaching program again, and I also do one-to-one coaching. But for just like videos or how-to stuff or whatever, Instagram and Facebook are where you'll find me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My plans are launching the program and growing and still supporting high achieving entrepreneurs.
Yeah. If we can't
So
pick
I
a
love.
date, we can't pick a date for the next lunch.
So okay, I'll be honest. This is what I'm contemplating. So I did the beta version live in the Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm contemplating switching everything over to Kajabi,
Mm-hmm.
um, but also then uploading all of like the other things too. And so I'm just like, it could be a bit of, I don't know, it could be a bit of a fear of like I just have to take the time to learn that system, upload everything, and then prepare and do a launch. So definitely, let's say this is definitely going to be January, but I'm definitely wanting to try and do something before January, like maybe a kickoff to set yourself up for the new year.
Or just a wait list. Like maybe just start a wait list for it.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm
Start your
overthinking
runway now.
it. See, classic example. Danny's overthinking it. But
So
yeah,
true.
start a wait list for sure, and it definitely will be launched in the new year because New Year's. This is the funny thing. Everyone's like gung ho, big motivation, big goals, and then they fall off, and it's like,
Yeah. But
hold
that's a
on.
really great time for you to capture people though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So right now, there's a lot of back end systems I'm uploading and figuring out to make it easier for people to navigate and just support their journey of progress. But January, for sure,
Yeah.
I will be
And this
launching
is,
it.
I know this is really for anyone. Like for me, it was, I want to be as healthy on the outside or like as healthy in my physical body as I am in my internal mental body, like my mental
Yeah,
state. Like that's really where I want to go is like, I'm so fit and healthy in my mind. I want to be able to bring that into my physical body.
I love that.
Um, but you also do the reverse. Like you can also work with a high achieving athlete who maybe
Yeah.
wants to break into business and is deathly afraid of social media or whatever it might be.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Like I still do the business coaching, and I think I pivoting and having fears to do something different and changing and all those stories I definitely relate to. So the business coaching I do one-to-one still, but the small group coaching program will launch in January for sure.
Okay, well let's get the wait list ready so that if anybody's
Love it.
listening, they can jump on your wait list. So I'll be in
Love
touch with
it.
you to get that link and all of that will be in the show notes. And thank you so much for joining me. This was so
Yeah.
good. I'm
Thanks
just
for
like
having me.
I'm hoping that the more I continue to talk about this that I will like, make it a reality for me and that,
Girl,
2
you're
to 3
doing it.
years down the road that I look back and I'm like, man, I really like turned it around.
You are though. Like think of where you were when you first started, the habits you've created, and like even your thoughts and your perspective shifts. Like that's what's a we'll end here. The classic saying is like catch a fish for a day and feed a man for the day, or teach a man to fish and he feeds for a lifetime. You know that saying? Is
Totally.
that a quote over there? That's my whole goal. Is like I want people to not need me, but also learn the tools of how to help me to make it work for them. Because once you have the awareness and perspective shifting, then you can apply it to anything and everything, right? And it's like you can do it on your own and you can make this progress and just stick with it. You've done huge leaps and bounds with everything with your progress, right? So
Yeah,
it's not
I
a matter
know.
of 2 or 3 years. I think You're already doing it now, is what I'm trying to say. You're
I'm
doing
learning
it,
how to
which
fish.
is
I'm learning
great.
how to fish. I love it.
You are. You're fishing. You're freaking catching tuna. I don't know. I don't know. You're
Oh
gonna do
my
catch.
gosh. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on, Elizabeth.
All right. I think one of my favorite parts about that interview is you guys get this like sneak peek into like these real conversations that I'm having with other business owners, and like just leaning into their expertise and getting to know them and learning from them. I have learned so much from Danya, and we can have these conversations back and forth where we are understanding, how we choose our beliefs and how what we think on the inside like dictates what happens on the outside. And it's just so fun. And, after her and I got off, I was like, man, that was so cool, because that's like a conversation that her and I would really have. And you guys got to kind of be a fly on the wall. So hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. Danya's absolutely wonderful. Again, you can find her on Instagram, therafit.fusion, instagram.com/therafit.fusion. And if you want to go get on the wait list for her program, it is going to be in the show notes at elizabethhenson.co/E58. This is episode 58. So elizabethhenson.co/E58. But please make sure you go say hi to Danya. Let her know you love this episode. Check her out on the Instagram, and I will see you guys next week.